Okay, so how do you start sweet potatoes? What are sweet potato slips? It's probably the biggest questions I get ever since I posted that video last October about the huge sweet potatoes I harvested out of my garden. And so today I thought I'd show you how to start sweet potato slips. First of all, what are the slips? Well, the slips are these little vines that you see growing off of the sweet potatoes. Basically, you give the sweet potato some light, some moisture, and it'll start growing these little vines off of it. Once these vines get to about 6 inches long, you'll pick those off of the sweet potato and put them in some water, and they will start growing their own roots. So that's your first step here. You need to get the little vines growing on the sweet potato. And there's a couple ways you can do that. This is the way I usually do it here. I take a sweet potato, I put some toothpicks in around it like you would do like an avocado pit, and just partially submerge the potato in the water, and it'll start to grow the little vines off of it. The other method you can use is this here, is using soil, and I kept reading about this, so I thought I'd give it a try. What you do is you put the sweet potato in some soil. You got to keep the soil moist, and again, it will grow the little vines off of them. Now, it did take a lot longer for these to get started putting in the soil. I couldn't tell, was it even growing? I still don't know if there's roots formed on these potatoes beneath the soil, but once they started, the vines have grown fantastic on these, so I'm probably going to switch over to this method here. Usually would prefer this is because I like being able to see the roots growing. When you have the potato in the water, you see it starts growing roots, you know your slips are going to start growing. With this one, I didn't know if it was ever going to start growing, and this one started growing the slips a lot quicker. But compare the two and you can see, and in fact these I've already picked off of the sweet potato and got them rooting, and still this sweet potato is only got vines that big. So see for yourself. Either way you choose, you're going to need to put them in some sunlight. I just put them in a window. It's not even a south-facing window, just any window with some light will do. And they both grew great so far. Okay, so now you got vines growing. The next step is, once they're about 6 inches long or so at least, you're going to want to pick them off of the sweet potato and submerge those in some water. Now, you don't have to be real delicate taking these off of the sweet potato. You can just pluck them right off. The important thing is you're going to want to make sure that you're going to probably want at least like 4 leaves growing on it, because the last 2 leaves you're going to cut off and submerge that section in the water. These are a few that I've got started here so far. This is one that I've got that's starting to grow the roots here, and where it's growing the roots is from where the leaves were. So that's why I was saying you want to let it grow to a certain length, because you're going to want to cut off those leaves to give it a spot to start the roots. And I have a couple at various stages here. This one's been growing the longest, and you can see it has some really good roots on this one here. This one's probably been going in the water by itself for probably about 2 weeks at least right now, and it's got sufficient roots. This could be planted. This is plenty of roots to plant it. These here, I would wait till they get a little bit better roots. And again, this is where the leaves were on this smaller one. This is where the leaves were on this bigger one. So you need at least a couple leaf nodes to submerge in the water, because that's where it's going to grow the roots. Another question I get is, when do you plant them outside? When do you put the slips in your garden? The answer to that, in short, is about 2 weeks after your last frost date. They do not tolerate the frost at all. Make sure to check your future weather forecast. It's not going to freeze, and the weather is going to be a decent temperature outside. They don't tolerate the cold at all, and they will just thrive in warm weather. You only need, I think it's like 100 or 110 days to grow them to get form sweet potatoes. You should have plenty of growing season no matter what area you're in, really. I had planted mine last year. It was the 2nd week of May, and I harvested them at the beginning of October, and I ended up with huge sweet potatoes. If you want to check out the video, I'll put the link in the description below, but just check out the size of those sweet potatoes. They were huge. Okay, so simple, right? Just need a sweet potato, some water, some sunshine, and you'll get your little vines growing. You don't need a huge sweet potato. This one's not much bigger than the diameter of my thumb. It's growing the vines just fine. Same thing with this one here that I put in the soil. Now I did put one sweet potato that's a little bigger in here. That was kind of my backup plan, just in case the smaller ones didn't grow vines off of them. But as you can see, the little one is actually outshining the larger sweet potato, although it may catch up now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the like button and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. Thanks for watching.